Hey, welcome back to Structure Fishing. I'm Jim Shell. I'm going to give you my another report on Green Bay. Casey and I went there this past Labor Day weekend. We fished Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I think our last three trips, four if you count on our way back from Canada, have been out to Green Bay. Great fishery out there. Not that I'm getting a little tired of it, but it's going to be our last trip this year. I'm looking forward to fishing some reservoirs and some other structures and mapping and learning some other lakes here. But I'm no expert in Green Bay at all. I've only been fishing it. I spent more time fishing it this year than the last 5 or 6 years combined. I have learned a lot and just want to share a little bit with what we learned. We had a really good trip for big walleyes. Real quick we'll talk really quick about Green Bay here. It's pretty long, big bay off of Lake Michigan, and the south end of the bay is shallow. And as you go further north, it gets deeper. And just as we would expect with the watercolor, you got the best watercolor down to the south end, and the further north you go, the clearer and clearer the water gets. The steeper, faster dropping structures are on the east side of the lake, and the more gradual sloping structures are typically found on the west side of the lake. Like once again, I'm no expert when it comes to Green Lake, but from what I've found out for myself and from what I researched on the internet, it seems like if you want numbers of fish, you're better off fishing the southern part of Green Bay and also maybe the western side of Green Bay. And if you're just strictly looking for big fish, quality fish, you want to fish the northern section of Green Bay and the east side as well. And that's what Casey and I did this past weekend. The previous weeks we've launched out of Oconto and we fished this reef here called Young's Reef, which was my last video that I uploaded, and also this Oconto Shoal, this really big structure here. This past week, Labor Day weekend, we fished for half a day in this Larson's Reef over here. Just caught several sheephead and some catfish and even a few white bass or white perch, I think they are. Then we went down. I hear a lot of people about launching at Bayshore, which is down here. We launched Saturday afternoon out of Bayshore, and we went out to this reef here. I believe it's called 2 Mile Reef. It's not very big. When we got out there Saturday afternoon around 3 o'clock, we were the only boat out there. And then about 20 minutes later, another boat showed up, then another boat, and within an hour, hour and a half, there were as many as 8 other boats out there. And it's not that big of a structure for 8 boats. We did catch a couple of walleyes there, missed a fish or two, and we did see several other fish caught by the other boats while we were there. But I just don't like fishing where the crowds are at. It was pretty crowded there with 8 boats there. But anyway, but they do catch a lot of fish in this area here, as well as this reef here. I forgot what it's called. I'd have to look at the map again. Volk, Volk's Reef, I don't know, something like that. But on Sunday, I told Casey we're going to fish up way up here at the north end of Green Bay, and we're going to chase some big walleyes. And I pulled up the Navionics map, looked at this, and I wanted to fish this Chamber Island. I figured it's such a huge structure. And the island itself is huge. I mean, it shows up on pretty much any map you look at Green Bay, you'll see a big island there, and that's Chamber Island. And it's a huge structure, and it's got a really good deep break line pretty much around the whole island. Just to give you an example here for a relationship here, this corner break line all the way up here is over 5 miles long. If you were to troll this whole island, this deep break line out here, it's probably 18, 20 miles of break line to fish around this thing. Let me zoom in here. You'll see. But anyway, let me back up. First off, we launched on the Michigan side. If you go straight west to the Michigan side, I think right over here somewhere. It doesn't show up on this map, but there's a launch right here. Actually, small launch, wasn't crowded at all. Only cost $2 a launch, but it is a pretty. I think from the launch to actually this buoy out here is 6.5 miles, and if you fish further down here where we were fishing. It was an 8.5 mile run from the launch to over here. You could launch closer to, I think it's Fish Harbor, Fish Creek, right here. It's probably the closest launch. Also, you can launch at the state park over here. It was Labor Day weekend, and for those of you that are familiar with Door County, it is nothing but tourists, and it'd take you forever to drive through these towns. Uh, Being that it was Labor Day weekend with all these crowds, I decided to launch on the Michigan side and just spend an extra 10 minutes boat ride to get over here. All right, but I studied the map here, this Navionics map. It's once again Navionics maps. Some parts are fairly accurate, some parts are semi-accurate, and some parts I don't even think they really map that well. On average, it's a fairly accurate map, but not really accurate. Uh, when I launched over here, we came out here. First thing we did was we spent about an hour trolling off the end of this bar here. It's surrounded by deep water. It tops off around 20, 22 feet. You can see here, and then got some crowns as shallow as like 14 feet over here. We trolled this back and forth for about an hour. Didn't get anything, so I decided to shoot up over here. And the wind was coming out of the southwest too, and it was starting to pick up. So I wanted to get over here to get a little bit behind this island to get a little bit protected from the wind. Forecast really quickly was 9 miles an hour out of the southwest. They typically underestimate the winds on these forecasts, but on this particular day, they underestimated the wind. It ended up being more like 14 to 16 out of the southwest, so it was pretty choppy getting back to the boat ramp. So anyway, so after fishing here for about an hour, we came over here and we were running cranks. I wanted to run cranks just for faster speed to cover more water and just to see if there were any active fish there. So at this point, we were running cranks in around 20 to 25 feet of water. We were having a couple lines that we were holding. We were bumping the bottom. We put a couple extra lines out on planer boards that were running a little bit suspended, maybe 2 or 3 feet off the bottom. And we started moving up here, and as I told Casey, I can tell we were out there for about 2 hours. He was a little bit discouraged that we didn't catch anything, not even a hit. And I told him, I said, hey, we're fishing for big fish. It's either feast or famine. So let's just give it another couple hours here. And sure enough, about 5 or 10 minutes later, he had a big fish pop him on his planer board, and we reeled in the first hog that was 28 and a half, 29 inches, something like that. Then we went back and just worked that area again, then nothing more, worked a little further down here, then got the second fish, then the third fish, then the fourth fish. We ended up catching 4 walleyes that were 28 inches, 28 to 29 and a half was the biggest. There were all those big walleyes. One was a little smaller at 22, and we also caught a really big catfish. We caught all those fish in about 2.5 hours. And this map isn't quite very accurate. We're actually more, it comes up, and then you've got at the top of the bar is mostly 22 to 23 foot flats, and then you'll get shallower spots on them like rock piles. And the fish seem to, when they move on top of this bar, seem to hold on these higher spots on the bar, like these rock piles. Like I say, this isn't very accurate. I mean, there is a bar and it does come out like this, but you've got more of a 22, 23 foot flat across here. And there is like a slot or two that runs in here. So it's not quite looks like this, but its general shape is pretty close enough. Yeah, we had a really good trip there. We caught the 5 nice walleyes, which you'll see at the end of this report. And the water is pretty clear, like I said, being on the north end that we're fishing here. And our speed was probably around 2 to 3 miles an hour. It depended if I was going into the wind or with the wind. Going with the wind, it was a little bit faster. Going into the wind, it was a little bit slower. We were protected from the winds a little bit, but being still about a good mile and a half or 2 miles off of the island, we were catching a lot of winds out here as well too. You can just see by this, and this is all we fished. We never made it past this area over here. We did come back Sunday. Well, let me back up. We left around 2 o'clock. We had all those fish, and we came back closer to shore here to get out of the wind, take some pictures. We released all the fish, which you'll see in the video there. I asked Casey, what do you know? He says he caught most of them. I says, we fillet these up, or what do you want to do? And he was very adamant. He goes, no. He goes, I had a lot of fun catching these fish. It was a trip of a lifetime, catching these big walleyes like this. I want to see these fish go. So he released them all, and they all swam away. So, like I said, it was around 2 o'clock in the afternoon. We stopped, took the pictures, and shot a little more video. And our plan was to go back, get a real early dinner, and launch out of Oconto and fish back where we were a week or two earlier, where you've got more quantity to get some walleyes to take home. But like I said, those winds were at that point 14 to 16 miles an hour, and we had a lot of 4 to 5 foot waves with an occasional 6 foot wave. We probably hit about 5 or 6 of those that I had, you take your time going through those waves. It really wasn't that bad. Although if I knew it was going to be that windy, I would not have ventured out there. But we made it back no problem. But we were pretty not beat, but by the time we cleaned up, got something to eat, it was around almost 5 o'clock, and we're like, yeah, let's just relax and head out Monday morning. And it was really calm Monday morning. We went out here, and naturally we went to where we had my waypoints where we caught the fish before. And the wind did change. Monday was out of the northwest, then northeast. It was switching a bit, so it was unstable condition. It wasn't the same as the day before. We did have one fish on right away, nice fish on, then we lost it. And then about maybe an hour later, we got a 22-inch walleye in the boat, and they just did not seem to be moving. So we moved down, checked out this side of the break line, and we caught a real small smallmouth bass. I'd like to go back. I mean, I Googled Chambers Island trying to find fishing reports, and the only report I found wasn't really a report. It was just someone had asked a question 10 years ago in 2008, and people said that most of the walleye fishing is done on the north end of the island. No specifics were given. We only saw 4 or 5 boats out there all day Sunday, 2 boats out there on Monday. You got so much water out there. I actually prefer fishing these kind of spots just because it is not. There's no one out there. Fishing closer in the Oconto area down here, you've got lots of boats out there. The one time we were out in Young's Reef, I think I counted as many as 30 boats scattered out on this reef. Same thing when we fished this Oconto Shoal down here. There was, here's Young's Reef, and the Oconto Shoal had a lot of boats scattered in the area here. But like I say, you go further up north here, you're going to have less walleyes, but if you do find them, they're going to be much bigger fish. But I would like to go back. You've got so much structure, as you can zoom in here and see. You've got so much going on here. You got a lot of bars and just a lot of stuff here around these. I think this is called Strawberry Island. You got another island here. You look at it. You got all these humps over here too. Horseshoe Reef, it's called. Never fished this stuff, but boy, you can spend a whole week up here just fishing all this stuff. So probably done going up there this year, but I will be going back next year. And I plan to spend in at least a couple of days exploring some of this stuff here. One good thing about fishing these structures out on the east side is you have a good chance of catching some nice quality smallmouth bass down here too. But that's my report for Labor Day weekend trip. Like I said, it was very rewarding catching some nice quality walleyes. And I'm also looking forward to going back down south and getting on some of these reservoirs again. So you'll see the video now of some of the fish we caught, And if you want to see the entire clip of our trip here, look up Casey's channel, Fishcraft. You'll have the full video of us catching fish on that channel. So thanks for watching. We are out here on Chamber Island, and we were thinking of leaving because I told Casey this is either feast or famine. And guess what, guys? We have a feast.
The hook popped.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, we got a tank walleye here. Look at that thing.
Oh,
Look at that
man,
thing.
This thing's huge. This thing's huge.
Oh my gosh, man. What do you think he is?
30.
He's over 30.
He's 30.
You're shaking, man. Whoa.
Dude, look how gold he is, too.
This is your personal best.
Yeah. All
Personal best.
Okay.
All right.
All right, guys. Pretty sure I got a fish on. It's staying down. Staying down.
Okay.
It just yep.
All right.
It's a fish,
All
it's a
right.
fish.
Yeah.
All right. We got overcast conditions. Look around us. The best conditions you can have.
I'm gonna keep the boat out of gear so we're not pulling them. Okay.
This
All right.
color is
All right.
literally.
Let me get the net ready.
This fish. This came
What's
on
your other foot? Can you get your other
same
foot?
bait.
Awesome, man. This is about 10 minutes after Casey. Oh, this is 10 minutes after Casey got the other one. Awesome. I'm gonna try to hold the camera and get the net. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's got to be another Slabosaurus. How you doing? How you doing?
We got 8 layers on.
Okay. We should be able to see this puppy any. Ooh. Oh shit.
Oh my god, that's bigger than the other one. That's bigger than the other one. That is bigger than the other one. Not even. Oh my gosh.
Here.
Oh my gosh. That is bigger than the other one. That is bigger than the other one. Oh my gosh. That's bigger than the other one.
I'm shaking and he caught it.
That came on the same tail dancer, deep. We're trolling deep here. Break lines. Awesome. Oh my gosh. T-bone the crankbait, man. That's another.
Here, I'm gonna get a quick measurement on
trophy
it.
fish. Like that. Actually, it's a little. It's either the same size or a little bit smaller, I think.
Oh my god.
What a pig. What a pig.
Oh. He's 29.
29. Oh my gosh.
All right, we could not film this one because the wind picked up, and it's a full-time job keeping the boat in position. And look at number 3. Casey on fire. He's got all 3 walleyes.
Yeah, on the same crankbait.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. All 3 hit that fire tyke or whatever crankbait. We're using about 22, 3 feet of water. Oh, another beautiful walleye. He's another probably 29 inch. They're all. Look at that. Look how fat that fish is. Beautiful. Dude, man, hold that pup up. We got the other ones in live. We will be releasing all these fish. We're just keeping them for a nice picture. Oh, gorgeous fish. You got the line? There you go. Sweet.
Awesome.
All right, man. That is walleye number 3. We are out here fishing for big fish. Oh, don't lose them. And we're out in front of Chamber Island here. First time ever fishing here. I told Casey when we got on the water that this is a big fish spot. We're not going for numbers. We're going for quality fish, and we've got 3 walleyes, and they're all 8-9 pounds.
Yep.
All twins.
Yep.
Awesome.
Open up the live well. Yeah. Dude, you almost put the net.
Look at that. Number 3. Oh, what do you think he is? You think he broke 30 or no?
No.
The other 2 were 29. Look at that. Look at that. Good shot, man. Awesome. All right, man. Let's get some more.
Yep. Let's do this.
There is, I think we only filmed half the walleyes. We ended up having an awesome day out here. We're going to get some fish pictures, and then we're going to let all these guys go. I was running a live well continuously, so these fish are in pretty good shape. It's crowded in there, but they were getting constant water. You can see they're all doing pretty good here. We're going to get them out, get a great fish picture, then we're going to let these guys go.
Yep.
We've got 5 walleyes in there. We've got 4. We got 1 27, 3 29s, and one that's maybe 24. I mean, just an incredible catch out here.
Yeah, deep, sort of deep water.
Yeah, we're like 22, 23, 4 feet on average.
Yeah, so not that deep. On Lake Erie, we're a lot deeper for smaller fish.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna get these out, get
You
some
guys are wild, man.
fish pictures.
Yep.
I'll turn on the camera maybe as soon as we get them all out. We're gonna make this quick because we want to get these fish back in the water and release
Oh,
right
bald
away.
eagle, look at that.
Oh yeah. Oh, 2 of them.
2 of them, wow. Awesome.
All right.
It's windy and it's hard to control the boat.
We're gonna let all these pigs go. There's release number 1, swimming right down to the bottom. Good release there. All right, let's get fish number 2.
Just,
That's not the biggest one, is it?
nah, that one was the biggest one. This one's 27.
But just look at the bump, how it's so thick. Right. Release number 2. Boom, nice release there. We got 2 certified releases here. Let's go for number 3.
Oh, this one's big. This one's big.
Oh, this is the biggest. Well, they're all big.
This guy's like 29 and a half.
29 and a half. That's the biggest one then.
This is a tank.
29 and a half. All right. This is the 3rd fish we are releasing. And yep, she's going down. She's down. All right, we got 3 good releases. Let's get number 4. Number 4, another nice one there. Golden eye.
These guys are marked golden.
Release number 4. Oh yeah, that went down good.
Last one.
All right, and the last one's a smaller one.
Last one. No.
Release number 5, and that's the smallest. We only got 1. They're all tanked except for that guy. He's probably, in case you're gonna get a quick measurement on him. Oh, 22. We got 1 eater. We're letting that guy go. We had such a nice day out here. We're letting all these fish go today. Release number 5. Yep.
Awesome.
All 5 fish released. No problems.
What an epic day.